If you've had the chance to watch the Monkey Tools video on how to use the Query Sleuth, you'll notice that the DAX Sleuth is quite similar to that. It works for free users, it works for pro users, but of course the pro users get a lot more functionality out of this tool. So I'm going to pop open DAX Sleuth right now on a fairly complex model. There's lots of measures here, and this is showing the interface in free mode. And there's about 5 different things that are available to us inside this, but the main purpose of this tool is to act as a measure dependency tracer. So what we can see here is we've got a budget measure. If we click on that, you'll notice that it shows us the actual measure itself with the signature. We have a calculated column here on the calendar table. Notice that it shows us indented. Even in free mode, we have the ability to unindent this or send it back into indented form. We show you indented by default. And we have a dependency tracer where we could go and say, let's go double click on percent of sales group. We can see what the measure is that's been calculated. And this one has some child measures, sales, which exist further down. I also have the ability right inside the free one here is if I wanted to flatten this measure out so that it's not using child measures, I can do that by clicking the flatten button. We'll get the signature of the sales measure, wrap it and calculate and bring it back everywhere in place. It's not a tool I use often, but sometimes it's helpful to be able to read the longer logic along the way. If you want to get out of that, just click on another measure, come back to the original, it'll show you the original format. You can obviously change the size of the font that you actually want to work with. You can even hold down Control-Enter to dial it up or down. That will work as well. And you can toggle the display on the left-hand side to go between precedents or dependents, showing you the different ways that you can actually look at your measures themselves. And that's the basics of what you actually get inside the free component of the DAX Sleuth. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this, I'm going to switch it back to Pro mode and show you what you get there. All right, so here we are in Pro mode, and when you open this up, you're going to notice right away that there's a lot of color coding over here, and there's a little legend that tells you what's going on. So orange ones are implicit measures, we've got explicit measures are this light yellow like budget right here. You'll notice we've got some syntax highlighting. Some is showing in green in this place. Calculated columns are showing in blue, so you can identify them really quickly. And measures with children are shown in green. So if I double click on this, we can see that if we take a look, we've got our green parent measure and our child measures are showing in the explicit measure color of yellow. You'll notice there are a few different options here. We have a few more that are opened up as far as duplicate and update. I'm not going to go through these things in this video. I'll talk about those in another video as to what they do. We've also got an ability to see the Excel dependencies or where these things are actually used inside your Excel workbook. And again, I'll cover that in another video as well. I do want to focus a little bit on some of the options that we have available here. You'll get used to the legend colors. This just takes up space after a while. So if I want to make this a little bit wider so I can read things, I can do that. I can hide the legend, and this setting will stick between different runs of the DAX Sleuth so that when you open it up, it's going to look the way that you actually want it to. You'll notice right now that we are grouping by table. So we've got budgets with measures, we've got calendar with its calculated columns and chit details with its measures. If I change this to not group by table, instead it will actually group by function type. So we've got our measures here, we have our calculated columns down below, and these are broken down within each table there. So it gives you a little bit of a different way you can look at it if you're trying to figure out where different things are. You can obviously turn your color coding on and off. Why you would want to turn it off, I'm not quite sure. And the concept behind the ignore empty is really about ignoring empty tables. So business lines, categories don't have any measures, so therefore we just suppress them by default from what's going on. Once again, like in the free mode, you can toggle between showing the precedent dependencies tree, or even turn it off altogether if you don't want to see that component, and that'll just show everything as an explicit measure as well. I typically leave this in the precedents format. I find that one the best thing to work with. You'll also find that we have a refresh button down here, and this is because if you happen to be making changes to your DAX measure, either through the Power Pivot window, through measures and manage measures, or by writing them directly inside the Power Query editor or any other version that you can use inside Power Pivot, this will allow you to refresh and get the latest values in here so that you can continue auditing and working with it. So the primary goal of DAX Sleuth is really a measure dependency tracer, but in subsequent videos, I'm going to show you some of the other different functionality that DAX Sleuth can bring to you. Thanks for watching this episode of Using Monkey Tools. To get your own monkey, visit our website at monkeytools.ca. Or if you subscribe to Skillwave's Self-Service Business Intelligence Academy, you'll get a free annual pro license included with your subscription. And remember, Monkey Tools was developed to support better Excel and Power BI solutions. If you want to learn how to really master these tools, you should definitely check out our full course catalog at skillwave.training.